From the Great Northwoods to the Rock Mountain Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, Bangor police say the FBI is now helping investigate a possible human trafficking operation. We'll have more on that ahead. Plus, the Maine State Police are looking into a deadly shooting that occurred in Carrabassett Valley on Sunday. And the town of Stonington is once again the top lobster port in the state of Maine. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop. Craig Colson is off for the day. We'll have those stories and much more coming up. And as always, we thank you for joining us. For the weather today, it's certainly going to feel like spring. Sunny skies and temperatures reaching the 60s. Let's start off this morning by getting a first check of our forecast. Devin Biggs joins us now.
Alrighty, Janessa, thank you very much. On this Tuesday, we have a winter storm watch still up for the northern parts of the state, and that will last until 11 a.m. Thursday. We'll see an upgrade as we do move forward, watching for some snow accumulations. The big concern will be ice, as we're watching for at least 1/4 of an inch of ice and some sleet accumulations as well. We also have a small craft advisory that will expire later on this morning along the coast. Meanwhile, we have some clouds that have been developing. We'll keep an eye on that as we do move forward. As we do zoom things out, we do have a little bit of energy off toward the west, but for now we'll just have some clouds passing through, and we'll also have some sunshine coming out throughout the daytime period too. In fact, we'll have a lot of sunshine today. Clouds will start to approach overnight. Notice some energy starting to move in as we head towards Wednesday morning, and that's your ice right there. Snow to the north, but a good amount of ice starting to show up as we head towards your Wednesday. Some warmer air will push in as we head towards later for your Wednesday. But moving forward, again, the wind not a big deal for now. We'll get some gusts here or there at around 20 to 25 miles per hour, primarily as we head towards Tuesday evening. But moving forward, hourly forecast, lots of sunshine, temperatures in the 60s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Janessa?
Thank you, Devin. We'll see you a little later on. Well, first this morning, Bangor police have confirmed the FBI is now involved in investigating reports of human trafficking. According to law enforcement, the group is allegedly targeting unhoused individuals. As our Alex Schley tells us, despite a quick response from community leaders, at least one person is still unaccounted for.
Bangor police say the FBI is now assisting in an investigation into an alleged human trafficking operation targeting members of the local homeless community.
We've received a couple different complaints about out-of-state company that is making contact with individuals in the community, and they are offering them services out of state.
The incident was first reported by Mel Combs, who says the men showed up at the well a couple weeks ago.
He immediately went right over to one of the young girls. She's maybe 20s.
Combs says the group told people they could put them up in a hotel, get them an ID, and then fly them to another state where they would enter treatment. But Combs says what they were offering immediately raised red flags.
I've seen the process that people have to go through to get into any sort of treatment, and it's not just, hey, let's go with me, you know. It doesn't work that way, you know. You have to make sure they've got, number one, insurance or some way to pay, you know, and nothing's free. And once I started asking the guy questions, he got kind of sheepish.
Combs says shortly after he began questioning the man, he left, but not before convincing the young woman he initially approached to go with him.
I asked her, I said, are you really going to go with him? She goes, yeah. Personally, myself, I was a wreck for a week, thinking of what possibly could be happening to this young girl. You know, she left here in a vehicle with 3 guys with New Hampshire plates. It just smells real bad.
Combs says despite immediately reporting the incident to Bangor police, he has not seen her since. Police are now asking the public to report any suspicious behavior.
If there's anything that anybody feels uncomfortable with, or they notice something that they feel like would be a concern, certainly reach out to us.
In Bangor, Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Meanwhile, Maine State Police are investigating a shooting death that occurred on Sunday in Carrabassett Valley. Maine State Police say on Sunday at around 7:30 p.m., the Franklin County Regional Communications Center received a 911 call reporting the shooting of 23-year-old Michaela Rose DeSantis of Connecticut. She was transported first to Maine Health Franklin Hospital in Farmington, then to Maine Medical Center in Portland, where she died from her injuries. Maine State Police say Michaela sustained her injuries at a residence on Left Bank in Carabasset Valley. And then on Monday night, 24-year-old Austin Doucette of Carabasset Valley was arrested and charged with DeSantis' murder. The investigation was conducted by the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit and was assisted by the Carabasset Valley Police Department and the Franklin County Sheriff's Office. That investigation is still ongoing. And in other news, a Plymouth man was arrested following a child well-being investigation. The Penobscot County Sheriff's Office says on March 8th, they received what they called concerning information regarding possible child abuse at a residence in Plymouth. The Sheriff's Office said during the course of that investigation, they identified 30-year-old Ladarius Williams, originally from Florida, as one of the persons allegedly involved. They also say they believed he was potentially in possession of firearms. Investigators discovered Williams also had a domestic violence assault conviction in Florida, making it illegal for him to possess firearms both federally and in the state of Maine. During a home search, the Sheriff's Office says a firearm and ammunition were found. Williams was arrested, taken to jail, and charged with possession of a firearm by a prohibited person. The Sheriff's Office says DHHS personnel examined the children on the scene. It was determined that the children were safe to remain at the residence for the night. The Bangor Police Department is working to revise its process for reporting crime, citing a need to address what the department is calling a procedural flaw. They say that flaw is leading to inaccurate account of certain data. Our Grace Blanchard explains.
It's safe to travel around Bangor. It's safe to visit our shops and restaurants and pubs.
According to Bangor's police chief, Mark Hathaway, Bangor does not have a crime issue, but there is an issue with how the department and others report crimes.
We're not going to suggest that other police departments are not reporting data accurately. There's just such a variable in how the data can be reported.
In a recent city council workshop, the chief told councilors the department is changing how it reports certain crimes after a statewide report suggested the city had the highest crime rate in the state.
We're not all reporting the data the same way. Therefore, the newspaper article was accurate. The data is flawed.
Chief Hathaway cited reporting by the Bangor Daily News, which found agencies across Maine are reporting crime statistics differently, which the chief says is causing some cities to look more dangerous than others.
To suggest that our crime data might be higher or more impactful than another community, it's really hard to compare that based on this process.
According to a Maine State Police spokesperson, all local crime data is submitted by law enforcement to the state and forwarded to the FBI. But what is entered varies based on how an incident is interpreted or documented. The police department declined our request for an on-camera interview on this issue, but police said in the workshop that they are working to shift how they review cases to improve accuracy.
We need to look at these categories a little closer to be sure that we're being entirely perfectly accurate based on what the officer is seeing and experiencing when he or she responds to the call.
In Bangor, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, Stonington is the top lobster port in the state once again. That's according to preliminary 2025 data released by the Maine Department of Marine Resources. They say the catches for the top 10 reports were driven largely by lobster. Stonington came in first with catches valued at $49 million, and Vinyl Haven came in second at more than $31 million. Harrington, Beals, Cutler, Deer Isle, Jonesport, and Tennant's Harbor were also in the top 10. Overall, the state's commercial landings totaled more than $619 million in 2025. The time now is 6:09. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, students in the Empty Bowls Club at Messalonskee High School are using their artistic skills to help out their community. But first, let's take another look at our forecast. For today, we have mostly sunny skies with temperatures nearly reaching 70. Overnight tonight, mostly cloudy with temperatures dipping down to 32. And for tomorrow, we'll have a wintry mix with highs around 42. We'll be right back.
Keep your feet on the ground, they said. So many people have told you you can't. They say you don't listen. So you don't listen to them. You rise to your moment. It feels like every idea is crystal clear. It feels like every line, every angle is perfect. It feels like you are at the top of your game. And with Fidium Fiber Internet, you are.
It feels like Fidium. Maine traditions you gotta do. Catch a sunrise from atop Cadillac Mountain, dig into baked beans at a community supper, and visit the Eastern Maine Sportsman Show. Make plans now for the 86th Eastern Maine Sportsman Show at the University of Maine in Orono, March 20th to 22nd. Come see all kinds of exhibitors and programs, from archery to fly tying to hunting to fishing. Everything you need to enjoy Maine and the outdoors is at the Eastern Maine Sportsman Show, March 20th to 22nd at the University of Maine in Orono. Make it your.
Every year, communities recognize outstanding service with the Spirit of America Foundation Tribute. Do you know a local person or group that goes above and beyond for others? Nominate them today by contacting a select person, city or town councilor. Help honor those who make a difference where you live. For more information, visit spiritofamerica.website.
Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield members in the region who utilize services at Covenant Health facilities, including St. Joseph's Healthcare, will remain in network. The two companies recently came to a new contract agreement. The new multi-year contract agreement ensures Anthem members will continue to have in-network access to Covenant Health hospitals and other services. Covenant Health serves communities across central and western Maine, including St. Joseph Hospital and St. Joseph Primary and Specialty Care Practices. It also covers long-term care, rehabilitation, and community-based services affiliated with Covenant Health located throughout the state. Anyone who has a vehicle knows that gas prices have gone up sharply in the last week, more than 51 cents to be exact. According to Gas Buddy's survey of more than 1,200 stations around the state, the average price is now $3.41. That's 52.8 cents a gallon higher than a month ago and 35.2 cents a gallon more than a year ago. The national average price of diesel also went up by almost 86 cents a gallon last week and stands at $4.59 a gallon. Gas Buddy's head of petroleum analysis, Patrick DeHaan, says, quote, gasoline prices in many states could climb another 20 to 50 cents a gallon this week, with price cycling markets potentially seeing increases as early as today. Diesel may rise even more sharply, with increases of 35 to 50 cents per gallon possible as global distillate markets react, end quote. Well, students are learning so much more than math and science these days. As Jody Hersey found out, they're also discovering the importance of community and lending a helping hand.
Students in the Empty Bowls Club at Messalonsky High School are using their artistic skills to help out the community.
The Empty Bowls Club is a group of students who make bowls, and we make them for a community dinner that we hold in March. I teach them how to do a slab mold, and then once they know how to do that, they can kind of branch out in different directions. So sometimes they use the mold, sometimes they build them by hand. I have a couple of them that know how to use the pottery wheel.
This is Hunter Stanley's first year in the club.
I've always been a huge ceramics fan. I've always liked doing things like that.
Students make around 250 handmade bowls that are used at the annual Empty Bowls Community Dinner. It's a fundraiser to benefit food pantries in Oakland, Belgrade, Sydney, China, and Winslow.
We usually get around 200 people that come to the dinner. The dinner is donations of soup and desserts.
Those who attend the event also get to take a handmade bowl home with them.
Each Messalonsky High School student is required to complete 40 hours of community service upon graduation. Participating in the Empty Bowls Club is one way to earn those hours.
And I needed like a club where I could just like express myself artistically. And I wanted community service hours, and I wanted to give back to the community in a positive way.
Students using ceramics to feed the soul and those experiencing food insecurity. In Oakland, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
This year's Empty Bowls Community Dinner will take place on March 27th at Messalonsky High School in Oakland from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. and it's $10 a person, $5 for children in kindergarten through 8th grade. The time now is 6:14. After the break, the war in Iran is impacting families at the gas pump. We'll have more on that coming up. Plus, March is Save Your Vision Month. We'll hear from medical experts on what to do to protect your eyes as Good Morning Maine continues.
GMA Wednesday. Jennifer Lopez taking you way behind the scenes of her new Vegas residency, where cameras never go.
You know I'm only doing this for GMA.
Wednesday on
Good Morning America, all the way from Vegas.
Chevy trucks are as capable and dependable as the Chevy people who drive them. You probably know one. Your sister. Your buddy. The ones who always show up. They all have that little extra something. And maybe you got it too.
It's Chevy Truck Month. Right now, get over $7,300 total value on this 2026 Chevy Silverado. Plus, Costco Executive members can get a $12.50 members-only incentive.
Bring your new kitchen to life with help from the Kitchen, Bath, and Flooring Division by Hammond Lumber Company. Bring in your ideas or get inspired by Hammond's extensive showroom displays. Your Hammond sales rep will help you create a materials list and cost estimate, and Hammond's designers will help you visualize your space before the work begins. And Hammond delivers from 34 locations across Maine and New Hampshire. Your new kitchen begins when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company, your building project partner.
Name an innocent reason you've got your butt in the ass. You got your butt in the ass. Butt in the ass.
Getting spanked. Very innocent.
Not if I'm getting spanked. Family Feud.
Weekdays at 9 on ABC 7.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Save Your Vision Month, a time medical experts say is critical for raising awareness about the importance of caring for your eyes. Dr. Laura Moffitt is a clinical assistant professor in the School of Nursing at Purdue University. She cites common causes of vision loss and helping tips for avoiding damage. Fox News' Kevin Uretsky takes a closer look.
When thinking about our health, medical experts say it can be easy to forget to look after our eyes.
Eye health is part of overall health. Many vision problems develop slowly and without pain, so people often don't realize something is wrong until damage has already occurred.
Save Your Vision Month is a national campaign held every March, encouraging people to get eye exams and learn preventative strategies to protect against problems.
Millions of Americans live with some form of visual impairment. Risk increase significantly after age 40 and even more after 60.
Some of the most common causes of vision loss include age-related diseases.
Macular degeneration often causes blurred or distorted central vision, like straight lines appearing wavy. Glaucoma can gradually reduce side vision, often without noticeable symptoms at first. Diabetic eye disease may cause blurry vision or dark spots, and cataracts typically cause cloudy or dim vision.
There's also several other risk factors.
People with diabetes, high blood pressure, a family history of eye disease, or those who smoke are also at higher risk. People with high sun exposure who don't wear UV protective sunglasses are at higher risk for certain eye conditions such as cataracts. We're also seeing increased digital eye strain in younger adults and even children due to screen time.
Doctors stress the importance of early detection to help keep any symptoms from worsening.
In general, adults under 40 should have an eye exam every couple of years. After 40, exams become more important. And after 65, most people should be seen every 1 to 2 years.
Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
The time now is 6:18. Let's get a full look at our forecast. Meteorologist Devin Biggs is in with the latest.
Alrighty, Janessa, thank you very much. There's that winter storm watch right there for the northern parts of the state, and that will last until about 11 a.m. For your Thursday, we'll see an upgrade later on. As to watching for ice, at least up to 1/4 of an inch, that will be possible across the northern parts of the state. Some sleet and some snow will also be expected. Notice farther down toward the south, a small crab advisory up until later on this morning. Watching out for some active surf. For now at around 3 feet, and further off towards the north and east, also notice still some active surf being observed, and also notice to the east at around 4 to even 5 foot wave heights being observed at this moment in time. We've had some clouds overnight that's been developing, tracking from the west and going toward the east. We'll lose that later on, and we'll have a good amount of sunshine. We've had some energy off toward the west that is tracking off to the east, and we'll be be watching for a mess that will be moving in coming up later on. So without further ado, we'll be under a mostly sunny sky, temperatures in the 60s today. Later on tonight, notice we'll have a little bit of a snow that will be developing to the north, a little bit of a wintry mix in a few spots too. But then things get interesting as we head towards Wednesday morning. That wintry mix gets going of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. And we'll see a little bit of a transition near Bangor to all rain as some warmer temperatures move in. But I would avoid traveling further north. That's that wintry mix, primarily some ice concerns that we'll need to keep an eye on too. But some breaks at times too, and then primarily rain as some warmer temperatures push in as we head towards your Thursday. So where you'll see the pink in a few sections though, and that's further off towards the north. That's the highest concerns on where we will see the ice. So these areas will need to be careful, at least a quarter of an inch before we're all finished up. And then some snow that we'll need to watch too, maybe a few inches at least before it backs off. So we need to be careful with that. Before today, upper 60s, mostly sunny, south wind at about 5 miles per hour. Overnight, okay, low 30s, mostly cloudy, north wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Higher gusts not out of the question. And then for tomorrow, low 40s, rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow, and that east wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Again, some higher gusts not out of the question. Let's check out your extended forecast. Some rain and snow chances Thursday, highs in the mid-50s, and then cooling off throughout the day. But then for your Friday, partly cloudy, highs in the upper 30s, then upper 30s again Saturday with a chance for snow.
I'm Barry Higgins from Maple Lane Farm. We have our own beef herd here. We're on about 800 head, and it's raised right here on the farm. And we go direct to the consumer. No middleman, all natural, good old-fashioned Maine beef. Our quality is unbeatable. We have specials on Facebook every week. We guarantee our product 100%, whether it be beef, pork, or chicken. And we have a small selection of lamb also.
Maple Lane Farm, a candy store for a carnivore.
ABC 7, Fox 22. The place we call home, telling Maine stories wherever you roam. From sunrise shores to forests of pine, hard work, strong hearts, values that shine. From old towns to harbors, back roads to ocean blue. Neighbors helping neighbors in all that we do. Through storms and clear skies, day after day, we're here with the stories that matter in Maine. From mountains to sea, standing strong and true. This is Maine, this is home on ABC 7, Fox 22.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Now to the war in Iran, conflicting messages about the U.S. timeline and the impact on oil and gas prices. President Trump overnight warned Iran not to interfere with international oil shipments. The president now saying he expects the fighting to end very soon, but he says the U.S. will strike Iran harder if needed. ABC's Marcus Moore has the latest.
Overnight, Vice President J.D. Vance participated in the dignified transfer for Army Sergeant Benjamin Pennington. The 26-year-old from Kentucky was the 7th U.S. service member killed in the war with Iran. It comes as the U.S. and Israel hit hundreds of new targets across Iran, dramatic video circulating online shows people racing to escape as missiles hit this military base outside Tehran. U.S. Central Command releasing new video of the strikes on missile launchers. It says the U.S. has now hit more than 5,000 targets and 50 Iranian vessels. But some key targets have been left standing for now.
We've left some of the most important targets for later: electricity production and many other things.
Iran continues to strike around the Persian Gulf. This video shows the United Arab Emirates shooting at Iranian drones. Qatar also intercepting new missile attacks. And now a new potential threat from Iran. U.S. officials say they've intercepted encrypted communications believed to have originated in Iran, which may serve as, quote, an operational trigger for sleeper assets outside the country. Law enforcement expressing concern that sleeper cells deployed in the West could be used for retaliation. Meanwhile, the Trump administration is giving mixed messages on the timeline for the war. During an interview yesterday afternoon, President Trump said, quote, I think the war is very complete, pretty much. But just an hour or so earlier, his Defense Department posted, we have only just begun to fight, no mercy. Later in the day, Trump saying this.
I think you'll see it's going to be a short-term excursion.
But at the same news conference, the president suggested a longer timeline could be on the table.
We will not relent until the enemy is totally and decisively defeated.
And as the timeline for this war comes into focus, officials say there are some 50,000 U.S. troops in the region. That's up from 35,000. And the president has not ruled out the possibility of boots on the ground in Iran, as officials here in Qatar call for de-escalation. Marcus Moore, ABC News, Doha.
As the war with Iran continues, Americans are feeling the pinch at the gas pump. Gas prices are climbing as oil markets react to the conflict. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio was in Washington with the details.
This morning, the war in Iran impacting families at the gas pump. Gas prices still averaging $3.48 a gallon. That's 50 cents higher than a week ago.
I'm on Social Security. I can't afford this.
The war triggering the biggest disruption to oil supplies in history, with the Strait of Hormuz effectively shut down. And this morning, President Trump says he's considering taking control of the key shipping lane, a route that carries about 20% of the world's oil. It comes as oil prices on Monday surpassed $100 a barrel for the first time since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022, before falling lower later in the day. And experts warn those prices could keep climbing.
And if we keep on pushing above $100 a barrel and get more toward like 110, I think you're going to see that nationwide pump price average get close to $4 a gallon. That's painful for consumers.
And the ripple effect goes far beyond the pump. Analysts warn grocery prices, airfare, and the cost to do business for farmers and small companies could also climb. UPS announcing it has added a weekly fuel surcharge, with other shipping companies now starting to do the same. The president claiming the higher prices will be temporary.
We're putting an end to all of this threat once and for all, and the result will be lower oil prices, oil and gas prices for American families.
Some Democrats also criticizing the president for his handling of the war.
Donald Trump is conducting an illegal war abroad, but it's the American public at the pump which is now going to pay here at home.
And the cost of living remains one of the biggest issues heading into the 2026 midterms. Yet analysts warn as the war continues, the price of everything could be affected. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
Other countries around the world are also feeling the effects of the war on Iran. Japan's stock index rose over 3% early on Tuesday as Asia markets actually rebounded after remarks by President Donald Trump that the war against Iran could be short-lived. Strategists are saying it could have a positive effect on the market there if there is an end in sight. Oil prices briefly shot to their highest level since 2020 yesterday. Investors saw it as a signal that Iran was digging in 10 days into the war, but prices later fell, and many markets around the globe are seeing different trends with their stocks. And now to Texas and bipartisan backlash over immigration officials detaining 2 teenagers who happen to be part of a mariachi band. They have now been released. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio also has that report.
This morning, a family of 5 in Texas is reunited after being released from immigration detention amid public backlash over their arrest. Their lawyer says the three brothers, ages 12, 14, and 18, along with their Mexican immigrant parents, were in the country legally and were waiting for their asylum case to be settled in court. They spoke to our John Quinones.
But 12 days ago, at their latest court hearings, at that appearance, the entire family was suddenly taken into custody.
The brothers are accomplished mariachi musicians, performing at the U.S. Capitol last year, even touring the White House.
They go from that last summer, less than a year ago, to sitting in a trailer prison.
The boy's father says he's been pressured to volunteer for deportation. The family's scheduled to see a judge later this month.
I don't care what happened before. The only thing that I care right now is that I'm with them. I'm the most happy person ever, and I wouldn't change my family for anything. I will go wherever they go.
Meanwhile, in California, immigration officials are explaining why a 6-year-old who is deaf was deported to Colombia.
How does ruining the life of a 6-year-old deaf child make our community or our country any safer?
The family's lawyer says they had no time to retrieve his hearing aids. ICE says the boy's mother and her sons were deported because they illegally entered the U.S. in 2022, and their mother failed to comply with the judge's removal order. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
A major settlement involving Ticketmaster, parent company Live Nation, cutting deal with the Justice Department, agreeing to change the way they make the ticketing agreements with the venues. Here's ABC's Lionel Moyes.
Just days after their trial began, with the Justice Department accusing Ticketmaster's parent company Live Nation of being a monopoly, a surprise settlement, a deal that avoids breaking up the company.
Live Nation did everything right. They're very active and very skillful on Capitol Hill.
Under the Biden administration, dozens of states sued, claiming Live Nation drove up ticket prices in the music industry by stifling competition, controlling promotion and ticketing. The Justice Department pointing to the pre-sale event for Taylor Swift's Eras Tour when Ticketmaster's site was overwhelmed, but the company blamed bots and insisted it has plenty of competitors. Now, under the settlement, Live Nation will be required to allow competitors like SeatGeek and StubHub to list on Ticketmaster's website so consumers can compare prices. It also won't be allowed to retaliate against a venue that picks a ticket agent other than Ticketmaster. It will divest up to 13 of its venues and pay up to $280 million in fines. The CEO saying, "We are putting more power where it should be with artists and fans."
The big question now for consumers, will we see prices go down?
The ticketing industry is just an absolute mess and nobody knows how to fix it. They're trying to beat the bots and the scalpers at every step of the way, but the challenge is they're up against some of the most sophisticated hackers and bots and whatnot in the entire world.
More than 24 states are not happy with the government settlement and vow to continue the lawsuit on their own. Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar insists Live Nation needs to be broken up, saying this settlement does little to lower costs or preserve independent venues or protect fans.
Klobuchar also raised concern about the recent resignation of the woman who led the Justice Department's antitrust division, critics viewing her departure as a win for big business. But the Justice Department says this deal will now make ticket buying more transparent. Lionel Moyes, ABC News, New York.
Coming up on the second half of the newscast, we'll learn about a special program in Montana that saves stray cats and finds them a unique home. This and more as Good Morning Maine continues.
What matters more? A bank with innovative products or one that cares for the community? At Bangor Savings Bank, we think it's both because our innovation helps customers build stronger credit, earn rewards when shopping local, give teens independence and financial experience, and simplify business with local solutions. So what matters more? You.
When it comes to your home, go to the source. Go to R&B's Home Source in Madison. R&B's Home Source has home comfort, convenience, and savings all wrapped up in one location. From the living room to the dining room to the bedroom, we have some of the best values in furniture and bedding. For the kitchen, R&B's Home Source has top-notch appliances from fridges to ranges, even washers and dryers. And sit back and relax with quality electronics. We service everything we sell too. For your home, go to the source. R&B's Home Source, Lakewood Road, Madison.
At the Challenger Learning Center of Maine, our mission to inspire Maine students has never been stronger. Our newly renovated facility is open and ready to launch. We have upgraded simulator rooms, refreshed learning spaces, and new hands-on STEM experiences. Check out our exciting upcoming events for students, educators, and families. There's always something happening at Challenger. Ready for liftoff? Explore what's new and what's next at the Challenger Learning Center of Maine. Visit astronaut.org for details.
She came to my home looking for trouble.
She was inside talking to your grandson.
Battling grandmothers.
You told her to get out of your house.
Yes, ma'am.
You said this in front of your grandson. And then there was a scuffle and a push and a shove.
Now she fights for her grandson.
She took him out of school. He's a third grader, out of school forever.
How long has Toby not been in school?
8 to 9 months.
Outrageous.
Next, Judge Judy.
Tuesday at 5 on ABC7.
You're watching ABC7 Bangor.
It's a brand new cultural movement that's bringing some old hobbies back full circle, and it's all part of an effort by many to put down their devices. Here's ABC's Danny New.
Real business is done on paper, okay? Write that down.
As depicted in this scene from The Office in 2007, students' reliance on technology has been a long time coming. However, it's of course not always productive. In fact, a new study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association finds that teenagers use their smartphones for about a third of the school day, with 70% of that time being for entertainment and social media.
The art of it is just stitching it.
However, older Gen Zers like Emma MacTaggart here are pivoting to more tactile hobbies.
People really want to get off their screens, doing something with their hands.
Over the past few years, this now 26-year-old has built a business called What's the Stitch?
Back with another kit that we are releasing mid-February.
Where she builds kits for folks to try their hand at needlepoint, even though she says this is often thought of as one of the, quote, grandma hobbies.
I mean, the grandmas were onto something because, these are great hobbies.
I successfully crocheted this giant possum in just 7 days.
And over the summer, I introduced you to Jenna Tatu in California, who has become one of a few Zoomers to make a living creating crochet patterns for people to download and try themselves. But it's not always about making something. Clara Sherman here started a company called So Bam Fun to spread her love of the Chinese game Mahjong to younger generations. For her, she feels making a connection through a screen is just not the same as, say, playing a physical game together.
In Mahjong, you are directly sitting across from that person and having a conversation, like a human moment with them.
And as we've seen online, Gen Zers and millennials have also been turning to pottery, origami, and even blacksmithing. Me personally, I have a little mini pinball machine I love to fiddle with at my desk. In New York for ABC News, I'm Danny New.
Now let's turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
All righty, Janessa, thank you very much. On this Tuesday, we have a winter storm watch still up for the northern parts of the state, and that will last until 11 a.m. Thursday. We'll see an upgrade as we do move forward, watching for some snow accumulations. The big concern will be ice, as we're watching for at least 1/4 inch of ice and some sleet accumulations as well. We also have a small craft advisory that will expire later on this morning along the coast. Meanwhile, we have some clouds that have been developing. We'll keep an eye on that as we do move forward. As we do zoom things out, we do have a little bit of energy off toward the west, but for now, we'll just have some clouds passing through, and we'll also have some sunshine coming out throughout the daytime period, too. In fact, we'll have a lot of sunshine today. Clouds will start to approach overnight. Notice some energy starting to move in as we head towards Wednesday morning, and that's your ice right there. Snow to the north, but a good amount of ice starting to show up as we head towards your Wednesday. Some warmer air will push in as we head towards later for your Wednesday. But moving forward, again, the wind not a big deal for now. We'll get some gusts here or there at around 20 to 25 miles per hour, primarily as we head towards Tuesday evening. But moving forward, hourly forecast, lots of sunshine, temperatures in the 60s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Janessa?
Thank you, Devin. Now for the latest on what's happening in Hollywood, here's ABC's Melissa Dawn.
What?
Hi, sister.
Netflix has released the official trailer for season 3 of XO Kitty, which previews a reunion between Kitty and her older sister, Laura Jean. The appearance marks Lana Condor's first return to her role as Laura Jean Song Covey since the 2021 film To All the Boys, Always and Forever. Brooks Nader and Noah Beck have been cast in the new Baywatch reboot. Shooting is set to begin this spring on LA's famed Venice Beach and the historic Fox studio lot in Century City, and will air on the network as part of the 2026-2027 season. Baywatch, which first hit screens in 1989, became the most watched show in the world, airing in over 200 countries, and at its peak reached more than 1 billion viewers every week. Dionne Warwick is coming back with one final album titled Duets. The first single from the album, Ocean in the Desert, features Cynthia Erivo and is set to release on March 20th. And happy birthday to Bad Bunny, who is 32 today. And that's what's happening in Hollywood. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Still to come here this morning, Jack Webb with sports. Don't go away.
The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
Furniture shopping is all about choices. Like, should I wait for a sale or get the lowest and best price every day at Bob's? Should I get my extendable Betty dining set with gray, russet, avocado, or teal chairs? Do I want my Elm real marble dining set with a natural finish or espresso finish? When I'm hosting a party on my show-stopping Beaumont dining set, what am I gonna put in the hidden drawers?
Candy. Everyone loves candy. Get feature-packed dining and wow-worthy prices.
Oh, my Bob.
When lives are on the line, they don't hesitate to run towards danger. Unfortunately, the same gear that protects them from deadly flames can be hazardous to their health. Senator Susan Collins to the rescue. Susan helped introduce legislation that protects firefighters and first responders from cancer-causing forever chemicals in their equipment. Because their job is dangerous enough. Call Senator Collins and thank her for protecting Maine's first responders.
The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
Welcome back in, folks. It was a massive Monday night in Orono, Maine, as the Maine women's basketball team looked to punch their ticket to the America East Championship game. The 2-seed Black Bears hosted the 3-seed Binghamton in front of a packed Memorial Gymnasium. We pick it up in the second quarter, and it's Talon going to work. She gets the layup to fall to make it a 2-point game. Next, it's Lala Woods who feeds Asta Blauenfeld on the break, and the Bears are rolling early on. Then Olivia Alvarez and Addie Smith using the give and go. Maine's lead is up to 6 in the second quarter, but Binghamton would answer. Bella Pucci is going to nail the three-pointer to cut that lead in half, but we go to the end of the first. Sarah Talon again. This time, it's the sweet Euro step to give Maine a lead at halftime. Beginning of the second was more of the same. Woods feeds Smith with a great pass as she knocks down the mid-range jumper, and then it's Smith's turn to share. She feeds Alvarez, who's going to drain the three-pointer, and Maine survives a late comeback attempt from those Binghamton Bearcats. They win 60-56. They advance the America East Championship game on Friday night at 5 p.m. at Vermont. They'll take on the 1-seed Catamounts for a ticket to punch their ticket to March Madness. Well, just like that, a weekend months in the making has passed as Cooper Flagg made his long-awaited debut at TD Garden on Friday night. Flagg scored 16 points in the Mavericks' 120-100 loss to the Celtics, but that wasn't the story of the night. The story was Maine's hometown hero making his professional debut against their team, the Boston Celtics, as thousands of Mainers flooded TD Garden and the streets of Boston to watch Flag play his first game in New England since his Duke Blue Devils visited Boston College last winter. And the Mavericks head coach Jason Kidd says he's never heard an away team member cheered for like that, let alone in the city of Boston.
No, it was incredible. I've never heard a road player get a cheer like that, especially here in Boston. They tend to go the other way. But I think that just shows the appreciation they have for Coop and who he is today and who he will be as his journey goes forward. And so I think he appreciated that, and it's nice to hear cheers for a road team in Boston.
Flag is already an inspiration to kids across the state of Maine. However, getting to see him play finally on the parquet at TD Garden may have even raised it up a notch. Flag says he appreciates the support and recognizes the opportunity he has to inspire.
It's incredible. I remember being a little kid and looking up to guys and stuff like that. So it's incredible to be able to have that type of impact, and that's one of the main reasons why I'm able to do what I do and I'm able to stay motivated is for stuff like that and inspiring the next generation.
The USM women's basketball team has danced their way to the NCAA Sweet 16. The Huskies will battle Wisconsin lacrosse Friday night at New York University in Manhattan. The Huskies punching their ticket to the Big Apple with a wild 67-59 win over Bowdoin on Saturday night. USM's first win over Bowdoin since November of 2012. The Huskies now find themselves 2 wins away from advancing to the Final Four after their massive upset win over an in-state foe.
To be able to practice today and play another game this week, and it's just been a lot of fun. It's been a really special year.
There's like no better feeling. We're just super excited to still be playing basketball. There's no feeling like it.
I mean, it's still like an unreal experience. I didn't think that I would be in this position. If you look at like the longevity of my basketball career, it's a great experience with all my teammates.
First win over a dominant Bowdoin team since 2012. That is quite impressive. Monday was the first day of NFL free agency. Some massive moves were made, such as Mike Evans signing to the 49ers, Tua Tagovailoa signing to the Atlanta Falcons. But the Patriots are yet to make a big splash. They signed 7-year veteran defensive end Draymond Jones, who recorded 7 sacks last season, along with former Bills fullback Reggie Gillum to a 3-year deal. We'll have more free agent updates for you this week as they develop. For now, that's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
The apples, they have to be
perfectly ripened and crisp, medium to large, naturally occurring blush undertone, and stem intact.
But did you
double check them? You bet.
Hannaford to go. Unmatched care and convenience.
Hello, beautiful.
Hannaford, all for good.
That is why I don't ride elevators anymore. Okay, what's with you today?
Well, I got away with something I shouldn't have. See that brand new Hyundai Tucson out there?
Yeah?
I only paid...
Jasmine's gonna finish you off. Jasmine!
Enjoy your new car.
Yeah, you too.
Deal so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event.
Lease an all-wheel drive Hyundai Tucson SE for $209 a month, or get 0% APR plus 0 payments for 90 days. Hurry in.
There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more for less. Check out half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Unwind with a massage. Let me take away the stress of everyday life and allow you to fully relax. I offer Swedish, deep tissue, and prenatal massage. Healing Strength Massage in Bangor is your place for relaxing therapeutic massage.
There's a limited supply available. It's on sale right now. Save with half-off deals from foxbangor.com. Dad, do you ever, splurge?
Hannaford brands for teen-tested quality and dad-approved value. Hannaford, all for good.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, stray and feral cats can cause damage to the environment, spreading diseases and eating native species, according to the American Bird Conservancy. Fox's Ryan Toohill tells us how a nonprofit in Montana is getting these cats off the street and putting them to work.
Not all cats that get brought to shelters are huge fans of humans, which is why Anna Meals Adoption Center and Food Bank has its Working Cats program. where they're paired with farmers and ranchers who might have a pest control problem. Janet Rose is the executive director here, and she says she knows firsthand how helpful they can be from her time owning a small horse ranch.
So I adopted a cat that had been brought in as a stray. Basically, he was a working cat until he wasn't anymore. But he was a working cat. He loved to chase mice, catch mice, eat mice. And I gave him everything that he would need to have a good life.
Rose says that many of their working cats come in as strays and are then rated on how social they are with humans to better place them. And even if a cat doesn't want anything to do with people, she says this program can still lead to great outcomes.
If we can get them in, even if they can't be adopted into a home as a working cat, they provide a service to the person who adopts them for a ranch or a farm or a barn or whatever, and they're healthy and they can live out their lives well. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody.
Rose also said that all the cats they take in are fixed and given medical care. So if you're ready to take care of that mouse problem in your barn, you can check out their website or drop into their Missoula shelter. Reporting for Nonstop Local in Missoula, I'm Ryan Toohill.
Now here's meteorologist Evan Biggs with our full weather forecast.
Alrighty, Janessa, thank you very much. There's that winter storm watch right there for the northern parts of the state, and that will last until about 11 a.m. For your Thursday, we'll see an upgrade later on. As we're watching for ice, at least up to 1/4 of an inch, that will be possible across the northern parts of the state. Some sleet and some snow will also be expected. Notice farther down toward the south, a small crab advisory up until later on this morning. Watching out for some active surf. For now at around 3 feet, and further off towards the north and east, also notice still some active surf being observed, and also notice to the east at around 4 to even 5 foot wave heights being observed at this moment in time. We've had some clouds overnight that's been developing, tracking from the west and going toward the east. We'll lose that later on, and we'll have a good amount of sunshine. We've had some energy off toward the west that is tracking off to the east, and we'll be watching for a mess that will be moving in coming up later on. So without further ado, we'll be under a mostly sunny sky. Temperatures in the 60s today. Later on tonight, notice we'll have a little bit of a snow that will be developing to the north. A little bit of a wintry mix in a few spots too. But then things get interesting as we head towards Wednesday morning. That wintry mix gets going of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. And we'll see a little bit of a transition near Bangor to all rain as some warmer temperatures move in, but I would avoid traveling further north. That's that wintry mix, primarily some ice concerns that we'll need to keep an eye on too, but some breaks at times too, and then primarily rain as some warmer temperatures push in as we head towards your Thursday. So where you'll see the pink in a few sections though, and that's further off towards the north. That's the highest concerns on where we will see the ice. So these areas will need to be careful at least 1/4 of an inch before we're all finished up. And then some snow that we'll need to watch too, maybe a few inches at least before it backs off. So we need to be careful with that. Before today, upper 60s, mostly sunny, south wind at about 5 miles per hour. Overnight, okay, low 30s, mostly cloudy, north wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Higher gusts not out of the question. And then for tomorrow, low 40s, rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow, and that east wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Again, some higher gusts not out of the question. Let's check out your extended forecast. Some rain and snow chances Thursday, highs in the mid-50s, and then cooling off throughout the day. But then for your Friday, partly cloudy, highs in the upper 30s, then upper 30s again Saturday with a chance for snow.
Keep your next building project on track when you plan ahead with help from Hammond Lumber Company. Hammond's Home Planning Center specialists offer professional plans with customizable 3D renderings available to bring your project to life. Once your design is finalized and approved, you'll receive a full materials list. And when you buy all your materials from them, Hammond will refund your design fees. Get your building project off to the right start when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company.
Main traditions you gotta do. Catch a sunrise from atop Cadillac Mountain, dig into baked beans at a community supper, and visit the Eastern Maine Sportsman Show. Make plans now for the 86th Eastern Maine Sportsman Show at the University of Maine in Orono, March 20th to 22nd. Come see all kinds of exhibitors and programs, from archery to fly tying, to hunting to fishing. Everything you need to enjoy Maine and the outdoors is at the Eastern Maine Sportsman Show, March 20th to 22nd at the University of Maine in Orono. Make it your
When the unexpected happens.
Really?
We'll get you running again. Uninterrupted. Together, we're united. United Ag and Turf, your local John Deere dealer.
I will make sure that Morgan is not breaking anyone's.
Where are you going? To Snoop. A mid-air homicide? I will work this case for free. I don't mean that. That's just something people say.
The problem is the aggression, the hostility.
Because there's dog poop on the floor. Was he trained at all?
No.
So he was just pooping everywhere.
Hot Bench.
Tuesday at 3 on ABC 7.
The Downtown Bangor Partnership is partnering with a local sign company and using grants to give some storefronts around town a facelift. The Downtown Bangor Partnership, along with Da Vinci Signs, rolled out some facade grants this year that they are calling Glow Up Grants. They are meant to enhance the exteriors of some downtown businesses. The city has $15,000 in grant money to be dedicated to aesthetic improvements like paint, awnings, signage, planters, seating, and exterior sculptures. All things that will add to a business's curb appeal.
It is hard sometimes for a small shop owner who is doing literally everything. They're doing the books, they're doing the displays, they're doing the ordering, they're doing all of the things. It's harder for them to find that time and money to be able to address the exterior of their store.
For businesses interested in the grants, you can email info@downtownbangor.com or visit the story on our website, foxbangor.com, for a link to more information and the application. Well, Death Valley National Park in California comes to life with a once-in-a-decade super bloom of flowers. Thousands of wildflowers emerge through the soil in the national park, transforming the area into a landscape of vibrant yellow, purple, and white. The blossom includes desert gold flowers, globe mallow, and sunflowers. The super bloom happens when the seeds stay dormant for 12 or more years, withstanding even during droughts, then suddenly spring to life under the right conditions. Visitors flock to the park on Wednesday to witness the phenomenon while it lasts. Death Valley employees are grateful for the attention the super bloom brings to the national park.
It's only once every 10 or 50 years or whatever, so it's great to be able to be here, and it's a rare opportunity.
Experts say the super bloom is a result of consistent rain during the fall and winter. However, they say it won't likely last very long. Well, that's all the time that we have left for this hour, but you can join us for the second hour of Good Morning Maine. That's next on Fox 22. Have a great day, everyone.
Brandywine Graphics makes it easy. We are the top source for screen printing, embroidery, branded merchandise, and direct-to-garment printing. With decades of experience, state-of-the-art equipment, and a commitment to excellence, why trust your apparel products with anyone else? And now, Brandywine Graphics can easily launch online stores for your school or organization. Simply design your products from brands like Eddie Bauer, Carhartt, and more. Share the link and we'll do the rest. Like we said, Brandywine Graphics makes it easy. Find out more at brandywinegraphics.com or at our Hamden location. Who has the best kept secret in Penobscot County?
We do!
Welcome to Maple Lane Farms, a fifth-generation family farm that's committed to providing you with the best quality products. Our farm-raised local and sustainable meat is flash frozen to lock in the freshness and natural flavors. Experience the top-notch quality of our meat that's naturally raised without any antibiotics or hormones. Get the best of both worlds, quality and affordability. Try Maple Lane Farms today, the candy store for the carnivore. Are you in need of remodeling your bathroom? Want to convert your tub into a safe walk-in shower? Call the experts at Bangor Bathrooms by Design now. They offer complete bathroom remodels, and from start to finish, your satisfaction is guaranteed. Call them now and save thousands. 659-6457. Enjoy that brand new bathroom you've always wanted from Bangor Bathrooms by Design. Transforming bathrooms, elevating lives.
All across America.
Good morning. Hello.
Wherever we are,
welcome home.
It feels like home.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Man, it's good to be home.
GMA, it's an invitation to come together.
Hey, George, how are you? Good morning.
And brighten your morning.
You're watching ABC7 Bangor.
Good morning, America. Northwards to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, Bangor police say the FBI is now helping investigate a possible human trafficking operation. We'll have more on that ahead. Plus, the Maine State Police are looking into a deadly shooting that occurred in Carrabassett Valley on Sunday. And the town of Stonington is once again the top lobster port in the state of Maine. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop. Craig Colson is off for the day. We'll have those stories and much more coming up. And as always, we thank you for joining us. For the weather today, it is certainly going to feel like spring. Sunny skies and temperatures reaching the 60s. Let's start off this morning by getting a first check of our forecasts. Devin Biggs joins us now.
All righty, Janessa, thank you very much. On this Tuesday, we have a winter storm watch still up for